Everybody needs to have something going on for
Right.
themselves, because that can be something that can create the next Amazon, next Apple. So all of us have potential. And two, it's like if you can get a job at a 9 to 5, you can create your own, because apparently they saw something in you.
Right.
So all of us have that potential. It's just we have to, especially in our communities, we have to think about ownership. Powernomics is
I'm so sorry, man. Had something that just came up, like it was
Man,
had to
it
deal
is no
with
problem.
it.
Hey, I can look. I can edit all that out when it's done.
Okay,
I
perfect. Please do, man. Please. I'm like,
I
oh
got
my
you.
God, this is happening right now, the worst time. I
I
apologize,
got
man.
you.
All right, perfect. But no, but to get back to your question, yeah, man. So I've been doing strategy really my entire life. So I started when I was about 9 years old. A guy by the name of Mr. Parker, he taught me how to play chess, and so
Wow.
I learned that, man. I'm really good. I'm really good at chess. So even though I wasn't the best student, right, I was really good at chess. So like anytime, they was like, Deon, go do math, I'd be like, I don't want to. But anytime they say, Deon, go play chess, I was like, yes. And so literally in the city of Chicago, I won city tournaments and just everything,
Wow.
man. I was a big chess player. And so just to kind of fast forward a lot of years until now, just being an adult, when I was 17, I graduated high school, and I always say that you only do three things where I'm from. You only really go down three paths. You either sell drugs, one, you either work at a factory, two, or you go to college, or you're just one of the
Wow.
people that go to college. Me, I did not have the grades for college,
Wow.
and so I also did not want to sell drugs, man. So I went ahead and worked at a factory, and so I remember I was working at this factory for about 2 years. And I said, man, it has to be more than life than this.
Yeah.
There has to be more to life than where I'm at right now. Like it just
Yeah.
has to be more. So man, from that point on, and even though I didn't necessarily have the role models in my life at the time, what I did was I began to read. I picked up a book, and literally, and I say that who I wanted to see in person, I found in the pages. I found in the pages. And so that's where I began
Wow.
to see my role models. I began to see my role models in pages of books. And so I said, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it too. And so from that moment on, man, so I tried to go to junior college at first, but then I dropped out. But after I started to read, I went back to college. I graduated, of course, and then I graduated from junior college, and then I transferred to a school called Columbia College, Chicago, here in Chicago, right? And so then I remember I went to the school. Now I've been in music and arts my entire life, so I just knew I was gonna go to Columbia to study some kind of keyboard or something like that, man. But it just did not happen like that. So what happened was I ended up going to this class that's called entrepreneurship for the novice. And so in this class, I started to see everything about like SEO, digital marketing,
Yeah.
branding. And I said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. So literally from that moment on, that was in 2018. That was like the end of 2018. From that moment on, I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is how I want to help people. This is what I want to dedicate my life to. So literally from 2018 until now, into 2020, starting my business in the midst of a pandemic, and even until now, that's what I did. And that's how I got introduced to the branding, to the marketing world. It happened through my professors, but she didn't know that she was literally breathing life into purpose in my life. So that's kind of the quick synopsis of how I got to branding and marketing, man.
That's amazing, man. And from watching your page and seeing all the free game that you're giving us on a consistent basis,
Yeah, man,
how
I
can we
appreciate that.
utilize branding and marketing right now, during COVID? It's a lot of people who's going live during this time. It's a lot of people who
Yeah,
started podcasts,
yeah.
media companies. So how do we make sure that, yes, it's good to start it, but, how do we sustain this over time?
Abs- That's a great question. I would
Thank you.
say I would say that the first thing first is don't just start something because it's the thing now. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't just start something
Yeah.
because it's the wave,
That's
it's the
right.
thing. I got to
Yep.
start something new. I got to start something fresh. Like, no, stop. If that's the thinking already, you're already starting behind.
Mm,
What you should do is you should sit down and ask yourself, what solution do I bring to my market? What solution do I carry? You know, if someone comes to me with the problem, what solution can I give them? Right. And so now so now what you're doing is you're creating this ecosystem that can then cater to if you should brand yourself or market yourself or not. Maybe it's not the time to brand yourself right now. Maybe you should kind of sit with your idea for a second, kind of think it through, maybe bounce it off a few friends, maybe get some mentors. Maybe this is not the time in the midst of a pandemic because everyone's launching something to go for it. Now, if it is your time, then I'm going to tell you this. If it is your time and you do have your solution and you do have, what you want to do for your market, then I'm going to say this. Take the time. Do not create a logo and a website first. Please. Now, because that's what I hear. People, they get these solutions and, oh man, I want to do this and I want to start this hair care, so let me go and create a logo for it. No, stop. That's a bad mistake. I always say this. People typically brand from Z to A and not from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? So when I say people brand from Z to A, I mean that people start off with the creative first. They start off with logos, with websites, with visuals. Now, don't get me wrong. That's an important part of the branding process, but that's not the beginning. Like, that's not where you start. Okay. Where you want to start is you want to start at the foundation. Okay. Well, again, first start with your solution. And I'm going to even give you an exercise that you can do to figure out, again, how you can, what value you have to bring to your market. This is called a value proposition statement. Okay. Value proposition statement. Again, what this statement does is it figure out in what way do you bring the most value to your market. Okay. So again, you want to start off. So this is a 4-part statement. Okay. So first part of this statement is, who are you? Who are you? That's the first question that you ask yourself is, who are you? What solution do you bring to your market? Who am I? How am I different than anyone else that's trying to do what I do? Right. If it's 1 million people in your field, what makes you the one that will stand out amongst the million? So that's the first thing you ask yourself is, who am I? What do I do? What is something special that I have to bring? Okay. Second thing you ask is, who do I help? So when you're looking at, so first of all, once you have who you are, now who do you help, right? Who's your target market? And this is what I don't like when I sit with people and they're like, you know what? Everybody's my market. Everyone is not your market. Okay. Everyone is not your market. You want to get super specific, when you're talking about who you help, who you help. Even with me as a branding specialist, if you will, the only kind of people that works well with, or that I work with my company, are only brands that are interested in impact and transformation. So if that's not what you're about, if you want to just kind of make a quick buck, or you want to just make some quick money, then I'm not the person for you. We're not the company for you. But if your brand is here to bring transformation and to impact the world, then those are the brands that we want to work with, right? So we're clear on who we're helping, and we're clear with who we're not helping. All right. So that's very, very important. When you know who you're helping, you know who you're not helping. So you know how to get really crystal clear on your market. Okay. Then third thing, what is the value that you give to your market? Yeah. What's the value? Yeah. What's the value? What kind of value do they get from you? Okay. When you have first your solution, 2, when you have who you're helping, 3, how can I give them value? Right? How can I give them value? And then once you are sitting and you really, and I would say with this, bounces off of a few people, really sit down with your target market, sit down with the people, that may be using your products or services, and see what kind of value you can give to them. All right. Then step 4, what's the promised transformation? What's the promised transformation? So once you have once you know who you are first, 2, you know your solution, right? Then 3, you know what kind of value you want to give. 4, how are they transformed after working with your brand? And when you can solve that and answer that, now, my friend, you are ready to brand and market your businesses.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yes, sir. And also still, staying on branding. And again, you providing all of those skill sets, which are extremely, extremely needed. When we first start these businesses, and what should we do after we do that step? Because I think people think, hey, once I have this business idea, I can start this immediately. So what should be those next steps?
Those next
I would say
steps.
B and C.
Got you. Got you. Okay, cool. So I think that I just gave you kind of a A 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So I gave
Mm-hmm.
you a 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's go to B. All right. So now once you have your value proposition, you know what kind of value you give it to your market. You thought through your solution. You thought
Mm-hmm.
through how you're going to get value,
Yeah.
and now you see that, okay, this is where I want to be, and this is how I want to market and brand my business. Okay. Well, then first things first, right? I would say this: depending on your business and where you are. There are three things that have to take place. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
so the stat goes here that 90% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years because either one of the three P's, either people, processes, or products. Right. And so now I studied a guy named Marcus Lemonis. He's a brilliant guy. They call him the prophet, but this is a general business term that he made famous is that again, 90% of small businesses fail, and entrepreneurs within the first 5 years, either because their people, processes, or products are not aligned with their market. And then after 10 years, that number jumps to 97%. Okay.
Wow.
So then what you want to do is figure out how to not be in the 97%. So now this may be branding 102, 103. Okay. The way that I like to think about branding, I don't like to think about it just from a creative perspective. I deal with branding from an infrastructural perspective.
I
All
like
right.
that.
Think about building it. We focus on the infrastructure of the business and the ecosystem. So by the time we get to the creator, it's like, oh man, everything is already making sense. Right. And I like to say this: we build houses, right? Your brand is a house. So when you're building up your house, what are you first laying down? The foundation, right? You're laying down that cement. You're getting the wood. You're getting the metal. You're getting the framing of the house, right? You're getting all of the necessary tools to build up your house so that, guess what? By the time you frame the house and you set up all the pipes and you lay down the cement and you get the brick and mortar, right? Then guess what you get to do? Now you get to move to the creation. And then once everything is built up and it's solid, and it can last a long time. I want y'all to hear me. It can last a long time once you build out the foundation. Guess what? Now you can start to, add the creative, or add your couches and add your pen, add the fixtures. So if I was to bring that to a brand, now you can start to, create your website and create your visual identity and your logo. Okay. But anyway, let me go back to your question. So the first thing that you want to do, I would say, is figure out your processes to your industry. All right. That's most effective for your business. Okay. So once you know the value, your solution, all of that, figure out every process that you will need to start your business. So processes, right? So if you are, say you're a shoe company, right? You know that one of your processes is you need to have a distribution company, right? You need to have a company that will distribute your shoes. So guess what? That process needs to be streamlined. It needs to be efficient, right? Because what you don't want is a bottleneck to happen when it comes, like say you have, say you launch a shoe line and that thing just blows up, right? It just blows up. What you don't want to happen is you literally have more of a demand than what you than the capital that you actually have to fill it. You know what I'm saying? And so how do you solve that problem? Well, one, you need to make sure that you have the inventory in stock, right? Then two, you need to make sure you can get it out on time. Right? Especially when we're talking about e-commerce, right? You need to make sure that you have the product and that you can deliver on time, because guess what? If you don't, even though you have all of these orders, 70% of small businesses thrive off of repeat customers. So what's going to happen is, they thrive off of repeat customers. So if you don't have that process in place, baby, them customers ain't coming back. They're not coming back. So you need to make sure that you have the processes in place. Also, you need to make sure that even your process from like your customer, I would say, when your processes for being customer focused or customer centered, right? So that consumer journey is the word that I'm looking for. That consumer journey from A to Z, right? So say they're going to your website. They're going to your website. They're going to purchase your shoe. You need to make sure that all links are working. Your website is clean. It has a good user experience approach. So a good UX approach. That means that when people come to your website, it's just a flow. That it's no stoppage, no hindrances. That it's just a flow. That if they see that black shoe that you advertise on Instagram and you told them to go to your site, then it needs to be boom, one of the first things that they see, so they can get it. Okay. So again, make sure that your processes are in place. Two, make sure that you have the amount of people to handle the vision and the weight of your business. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more
Real.
time. Make sure you
Yeah.
have the people and the team that can handle the vision and the weight of your team. Okay, I mean of your business. All right, because again, one thing that you don't want to do is have all of this capacity but can't fill it.
That's
Because
right.
guess what? You can't do it all by yourself.
Mm.
You can't do it all by yourself. So how do we make sure that we're not doing it all by ourselves? By bringing and establishing a team that will be aligned with our that will be aligned with our focus, with our core values, with our processes, and that will believe in the direction of the company, right? So we want to have people on our team that can support that can get in alignment with that because and actually this is what a mentor told me, and this is what I try and approach to do with my company. He said that you don't build the business, people do. You
Mm.
don't build the business, people do. So what he does is what my mentor does, and it's also an approach that I take, is I invest 60% of my time into the people that I work with, and then I allow them to build the business. That's what I personally do. Now, of course, if you don't have a team, if it's just you, you're like, okay, well, I don't have a team. Well, guess what then? If it's just you, I would say this. If you want to go far, you need a team.
Mm.
If you want to go,
Right.
if you're just worried about right now, okay, you can do your thing, right? Even if it's and for starters, just to give you some place to start from, maybe you're getting you a virtual assistant. Maybe you're starting there to kind of help you with the day to day, right? Depending on your depending on your industry and your actual business, is determined on what you would need. But most people start off with a virtual assistant. I know that's what I started off with my business. We now have about 12 people, but it
Wow.
started off with just it was just me and one other person on my team. So again, make sure that you have the team of people. All right. So then lastly, I would say make sure that your products are good. Make sure that the product is good. Make sure that it actually meets the need of your market. You know what I'm saying? Don't just have a product and it's not tested. So by the time it goes to market, you're like, well, why my stuff not selling? It may not be because your processes are bad or your team is not there. Maybe your actual product needs some work.
Mm.
And so figure out what that is. And so that's what I would say. That was the approach that I took. So after establishing the kind of value that I wanted to give to my market with who it was, why I was doing it, and of course the unique value and then the promised transformation, then I went to, okay, what are the logistical things I need to start my business? Okay. Then after that, of course, I built out the foundation of my business, and me, I have a brand strategy and management consultancy, so one thing that I knew was that I want to be able to service more than just 5 people at a time. So I knew I was going to need a team. I knew I was
Yeah.
going to need a point. And then, this is really good. This is really, really good, guys. Know your weaknesses and your strengths.
Mm. Yeah.
Know
Yeah.
your weaknesses and your strengths. Okay. Like for instance, me, I'm great at doing this. I'm great at being a communicator. I'm great at being a leader. I'm great at seeing what needs to happen. I'm great at being a visionary, kind of
Mm.
really high level, So what I did was I hired people who hid my weaknesses of being detail oriented. I am
Mm.
not detail oriented. I don't know if my assistant is on right now. I saw her pop in for a minute, but she'll tell you I'm not at all. So literally, she's there to kind of help me think that through. Every morning we sit down and literally walk and talk about what has to be done for the day, because literally it's all up here, but she's able
Mm.
to take it and give it legs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
She's able to take my
Yes.
ideas and give it legs. So make sure you know your strengths and your weaknesses, okay? Because again, and you're not good at everything. So you have
That's
to be
right.
brutally honest with yourself and figure out what am I strong at and what am I weak at, and and so this is why you need a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you're probably really good at some things, but I guarantee you there's some things that you're really bad at too.
Yeah.
And what happened is most people are not real enough or can't be real enough with themselves and say what they're bad at, and I think that I'm happy that me personally, I can embrace what I'm bad at,
Mm.
and so because of that, I have a level that I can bring people, to again hide my weaknesses, so again we can be productive and everyone is operating in their strengths.
Mm.
Okay, so even if you're a even if you're a solopreneur, even if you know what I'm saying, like have it, like if you don't hear anything that I'm saying, make sure that you have a team that can support your vision, that can hide your weaknesses, so you can do what you're the strongest in. Okay, so those would be my next step. Then after that, of course, get a graphic designer. You know, make sure that your brand and your photos, you know, your photos look good online. Make sure that your photos look good on Instagram. Don't show up with the photo that you took on the iPhone. Now, listen, I know we do. iPhone take some good pictures. I got you. But don't show up with the app talk about, you know, doing a selfie. You want to be professional. Come on. You want to be professional. And if you want your business to be taken serious, make sure that you have a visual appearance that can be taken serious. Okay. So make sure that your visuals are clean, super clean. Make sure that your website is clean. It's clean. There's no misspelling, no errors, no broken links. I mean, come on, guys. This is business branding 101. Make sure that it looks good. All right. And then I would say too, make sure that you have a logo that authentically represents who you are as a company, right? Who you are as a solopreneur. Because guess what? When that logo, because even, you know, so my business, for anyone, I don't know if you're familiar with the Chicago area, but but my business, where we're located at, we're located in downtown in the West Loop, Chicago. And so in the West Loop of Chicago, in this area, there are a lot of new tech companies that's here. So your Facebook, your Google, your Microsoft, you know, it's kind of like a Midwest Silicon Valley, right?
Right.
And so we have it here, right? And so my logo, NDBU, when you see it, you can put it up against the Google, against Microsoft, against Facebook, and it has that same cleanliness approach. Why? And also, I'm in the West Loop because I want to build the business in the West Loop. I want my company to be in the West Loop. I had made a post that said that my logo will be right next to Google's. Like I said that my business will be right next to Google's in the building that they're in. And so yeah, that's the approach. I know I just said like BCD and E. But
no, hey, that's awesome.
That,
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah, if you can listen to that, take some of those notes. That'll take you far.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Deon, that translates perfectly to people being authentic to themselves. And I think during this time of this social media era, is that if you want to start, let's say, a podcast, or if you want to start a branding consultant agency, you might try to copy people and not really be yourself because you're comparing. So how do we learn how to be ourselves in a time where it's easy to compare?
Man, these are some really good questions that you're asking, man. Really good questions for sure. And I'll start by saying this. Firstly is take it easy. And when I say take it easy, I mean, don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to figuring out everything right now.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to figuring out everything right now. And so with this, normally I'm very much so raha, don't you do it. You need to have yourself. But with this, I'm not, because I realize that when you're a new business, right? When you're a new company, a new business, you know, you have to build up your confidence. You know, you have to build up your confidence. You have to build up your self-esteem. You have to really grow into the identity of your company and business and really know who you are, right? So I know that I know a couple of people, even myself, when I first got started, you know, I followed a guy. I followed a guy that was like an industry giant. You know, a lot of people know him, right? And so I said, oh man, you know, I'm going to use some of his systems and his processes, and I'm going to just kind of copy him a bit, right? And I think that we're you know, we've all been there before. You know, when you first starting out, you want to see who's doing it the best. And then, you know what I'm saying? You want to see who's doing it the best, you know, but what you find out is how they're doing it doesn't necessarily always work for you.
That's right.
Right. It doesn't necessarily always work for you, but what it does is it gives you a place to start. It gives you a place to start. So when I say don't be so hard on yourself, what I'm saying is don't mind giving yourself a place to start. Okay. But you can't stay there. Now, that's the important part, is that you can't stay there. Right. And so, again, which is why brand strategy is so important, because what it does is it goes to the infrastructure and the foundation of your brand, of your business, and it defines who you are and how you are differentiated from other people that do what you do in your field or in your industry, right? And so literally with me, you know, yeah, I did the work. You know, I said, you know what, we're going to be this. We're going to be a brand marketing and branding agency, strategy, management, and this is going to be our thing. This is what's going to be what we focus on. For instance, I'll give you a prime example of what I used to do and what I don't do now. Like when I first came on to IG, right, there were a lot of people, you know, like there's a lot of people that do the, hey, you can make $20,000 in 15 days, or, you know, hey, you can make $30,000 in 10 days, you know, and different things like that. Now, I'm not negating that that's not true, because, you know, I've seen it happen even within my own company. But what I am saying is that's not the story for everyone. And it takes time. We live in a microwave generation.
Yeah.
We live in a microwave generation where everybody wants everything so quick and so fast and just get it to me. But let me tell you something, greatness isn't born overnight.
Yeah.
Greatness isn't born overnight, and it takes time to build a great business. It takes time to be a great entrepreneur. So guess what? Don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself a place to start, but don't stay there. So then when you get into the granularities of your business and just what you have to do specifically every day, then you're going to find out what makes you tick. What makes your business different? Oh, you know what? They did it like that, but this actually works better for us. Oh, there are people who are like this. These are the kind of people that I need to do my business. Oh, that's fine what they're doing, but I realize that this is what I need for my business to be successful. But guess what that takes? One, that takes confidence. It takes confidence to be able to stand on your own too and say, hey, this is what I need to be successful. This is what my business needs to be successful. Two, it takes grit. It takes grit to, when everyone is saying, hey, be like this, to say, you know what? No, this is what we are. This is who we are. This is what we're going to stand on. It takes grit. Okay. And then lastly, it takes assurance. It takes this surety to whereas you can stand flat-footed, and no matter what comes at you or no matter what tries to pull you away, that you can stand and say, you know what? I'm not going to move, because I realize that this is what makes me different. This is what makes me distinctly different from everyone who's doing what I do, right? So, and I always say this, and so the name of my company is NDVU. Now, that's a play on the word individual, right? That's a play on that word, and the reason why that's a play on that word is because even though there are a million people that do what you do, they're you know, it can be a saturated market, right? Yeah. But guess what? Only one person can solve the problem, can create the solution, can be the voice like you. There's only one you. There's only one business that's like you. So what you want to really get foundationally sound in is what makes you different. What makes you different? How do you stand out for my solopreneurs? How do you stand out? What makes you different? Why would they want to come to you? Right. And again, so now we're talking about what? Differentiating, right? And so this is what you got to focus on. And then too, even if you're a small business, you know, what makes our company different? And I will even say this: people don't want better, they want the best. People don't want, oh, they do it better. Nobody cares about if you do it better. Nobody cares about that. What they do care about is that you are the best. So in everything that you do, position yourself to be the best. In my company, they'll tell you all the time, I say, listen, we are the best. Whether we're there right now, or, you know, whether we get there 3 years from now, you know, that's something that I always say. We are the best at what we do. We are the best, and we will be the best, because that's what that does. That sets an expectation for you and everyone on the team. Yeah. You and everyone, like, hey, we will be the best. And that's not to be arrogant or pompous or anything like that. But what you're saying is we will stand in our own different, unique approach to what we do. Not only will we stand in it, but we will be the best at it. And I'll give you one person who was a genius with this. And everyone may know him. His name is Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, when it came to, right, the guy that started Apple, founded Apple, right? So and it's funny because if you read up about him, you know, he hated like the current state of technology that was like in that current era or in that time, right? And so I remember they talked about him using a CD player, and he was just like, this is such a piece of crap, you know. Now again, the CD player was the standard at that time, right? It was the standard, you know. Everybody used the CD player, tape player, you know. Everybody used this, but Steve Jobs says, this is crap. It got to be something better. And not only did he say that this is crap, but what he found out was this is something that can be improved, and I can be the person that does it, you know. And so with your business, what's currently going on in your industry? What's going on in your market to where you're seeing holes and gaps? You know, maybe something that's been done for years, but you have such an innovative approach. You have an innovative solution to solve something that's mundane, that's been the same, that's just typical. and you come with this innovative solution and you solve this problem, right? You have just, my friend, disrupted the market, right? And that's what you want your brand to do. You want your brand to disrupt markets to where everyone had the place that they went to. Then they say, oh my gosh, who is this new company, right? And guess what? That happens when you can be assured, when you can be gritty, right? And when you can be focused on how you are different, how you are unique, and you stand sure, and it works. You can't just be like that and it don't work. Now it has to work. So, and it works. And then when you do that, again, you set yourself up to be the best, to be successful, and to be a brand and business that disrupt markets. And so I hope that answered the question.
Hey,
I know I
that's some good stuff right there. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And once we start disrupting these markets, customers, they will come. And what you said, I think it was 70% of small businesses customers are
returning customers.
Right.
Returning customers. Yes.
Exactly. So how do we make sure that we service our customers properly, that they will continue to constantly keep coming back?
Gotcha. Great question, man. I would say that the first thing is make sure that you have a service that can allow for repeat customers. Make sure that you actually have that service in place. You don't want to just be, you come here, for one, you have a service to where they can use it, but then they don't need it anymore, right? Because then they won't be a returning customer. So what is your returning customer? What is your service that makes your customer return to you? So I'll even say this, especially for my service-based businesses, okay? Because, product-based businesses, that's a bit of a different thing because, you have a product, so you'll always be making that product. And if it's good, people will constantly come back, right? So when it comes to a product-based business, it's kind of straightforward, just make sure that you have a good product, good customer service along with that product, and good processes along with that product, right? Then you set yourself up to be successful and you set yourself up for returning customers, okay? Now, with service-based businesses, it's a bit different. And I'll even use my business as an example. So we had charged this high ticket price for brand strategy, right? And so we had a lot of people going through it, but they weren't coming back, because we didn't have a service for them to come back to. It's like, we don't have anything. We don't have anything for you to come back to, so it was only just one service, that was here. And so I remember, and then I'm a man of faith, right? So I remember one day I was praying and I said, man, God, I said, man, what is the thing that we need? Like, I feel like this business is missing something. I feel like I don't know what that next thing, like, I don't know what it is. What is that next service? What's that? Like, is it a product? Is it a service? What is it? So I remember, and then he sat down with me, I'm talking about God. And then,
hey, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay. And then literally, in my mind, as I was kind of praying, God said, brand management. I said, what? He said, brand management. I said, yo, brand management. And so I knew about it. I've saw it a bunch of times, but I never thought to implement it in my own company because the person that I was following didn't do it.
Wow.
You get it? So that's why you have to know what makes you different, because I was following someone and he didn't do that, but he was bringing in $50,000 off one person, right? And he never had to see him again, but he's making $1 million a year just doing this stuff. And I'm like, that's not my niche. That's not what we're, so I'm like, so this is where it pays to be unique in your approach to your business. And you have to know what you're doing, right? And so I said, you know what, brand management. I have literally from the time I started it, right? So right now we have three big influences in the Christian space on our team right now that had I not established a brand management service, they would have never had anything to come back to, right? Not only that, but we're missing out on so much revenue from having that returning customer, right? Again, if I'm saying that 70% of the market is returning customers, right? And if you don't have that, now you have to figure out all of these marketing strategies, spend all these ad dollars, to figure out how to get that one customer that's going to spend money on a high ticket service one time and then be gone, right? Like we don't want that, because that's what we want to do. We want to have a continued relationship with that person, because guess what they're going to do? And here we go. And I want y'all, if y'all listen to me, I want you to really take notes about this. You don't want satisfaction. You want avocation with your customers. You don't want satisfaction. You want advocacy. Well, Deon, what's the difference? I'm glad that you asked.
About to
So
get the word of mouth.
Come on.
Yeah.
My man's exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have just say you're a service-based company and you gave this client a service and they were just satisfied. Okay, great. They're going to go and their friend will ask them, okay, well, listen, how was that service that you used? They'll say, you know what? It was pretty cool. They got the job done. They're satisfied. Let me tell you, do you think the friend are going to be like hopping through the roof and say, oh, well, let me work with them? Absolutely not.
Nah.
Right. But when you over deliver, right? When you over deliver with your products, with your service, with your customer service, you over deliver, you create advocates for your brand. And guess what? Those advocates are going to spread the word about your business. They're going to spread. I mean, baby, they're going to shout it from the mountaintop. You hear me? They're going to shout it from the mountain. Hey, you need this service, right? So then when you see that enthusiasm, right? So now when she's going to that same friend, right? And she's like, oh, well, how did that service go that you use? Oh my gosh, they were amazing. The customer service was great. I just loved their service. They were so nice. And they delivered a great product before they said they were going to deliver it. Guess what? You have to create an advocate. And I promise you, when that person is in need of a service that you do, they're going to come to you first. Why? Because their friend said it and they were an advocate and overexcited about what you did. So when it comes to your business, your service, you don't want satisfaction. You want advocacy. You know what, man? I realize that you keep on asking me these questions and then I just kind of go with it and then I don't even know where we end up with.
No, hey, it's going great. I'm loving this conversation.
Okay.
It's going great. Hey, we're just chopping it up. I'm loving it.
Okay, cool, man. I'm like, okay, well, he just asked me something. I kind of went a whole nother way with it.
Nah, you're killing it, I promise.
Oh man, well, man, thank you, bro. But yeah, I would definitely say that's what you need. You need advocation because that's what's going to take your business from point A, from being a business that's just starting out, that's trying to get their footwork in, that's what's going to transform you from a bootstrap company to a household name. Okay? Wow. Bootstrap to household name. You want to know what's the course from bootstrap to household name? Avocation. Okay. And what does avocation? So in this, how do you get from bootstrapping to avocation? By making sure that you have the right people on your team, by making sure that you have the right processes in place, right? By making sure that you have a good service and product, by making sure that your customer service is good, by making sure that you over deliver with each client that you speak to, with each client that you work with. Okay. And you can't take any client for granted. I'm not going to lie. I've had clients that, I was like, oh man, this is a tough client, right? But not at one time did we not give our best. Not at one time. Now, I know if some of you listening, it's like, oh man, well, I hear you, but you know what? When I get that tough client, I just want it to be over with. Listen, that's just the truth, right? But don't be like that. Over deliver even with that client, because guess what? When someone's going to talk to her about it, she can't say, or he or she can't say anything. But listen, they were good. I mean, granted, we had our problems, but they held it down. They over delivered. And at the end of the day, even if they don't say that, you can stand true on your values and your core and say, I know that we gave that customer our everything. And so at all given points, what you're doing is, again, you're creating advocates and not just satisfied clients. And that's how you take the next step and grow your business to the next level.
That's awesome. And right now I'm noticing on Instagram, social media, it's a lot of people that's growing followings, but sometimes that interaction may not be there. And two, there's people with a smaller following, but they have like a real community. Yeah. So how can we start establishing communities rather than trying to look for big followings all the time?
That's so good. That's so good, man. And I would say that just like what we spoke about earlier with your target market, with your market, I would say this from a I'm going to go technical first, and then I'm going to kind of bring it around the mountain. So technical first, I would say know their psychographic and demographic information, right? So psychographic being, what do they like to spend their money? What do they like to do on a Sunday afternoon after church or after, what do they like to do on Sunday mornings? Are they going for runs? Are they going to hang out with friends at a Starbucks? Are they going out for breakfast, for lunch? Are they doing brunch? What are they doing on Tuesdays after, leaving their job and they have to go home with kids? And, so why this is important is because you know how to speak directly to them. Right. You would say something like, yeah, because I know, because I know that, you may go out for jogs on Sunday mornings, and then they'll be like, how did you know that I did that?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, how did you know? It's because I studied you, right? And so even with this being said, right? And so even with me, you still want to remain personable and you still want to keep that emotional connection. But from a technical perspective, you do want to know their psychographic and then demographic information as well, being how old are they? You know, how where do they live? Are they mostly in the urban city? You know, are they in metropolitan areas? Are they in suburban areas? Right? Like, what is that? Like, where is your market living at? You know, and so you want to know. And that's only the tip of the iceberg with psychographic and demographic. But you want to know this information. Now, next thing that you want to know or that you want to do is this. You want to make a connection with them emotionally. Now that's good. You want to make a connection with them emotionally. So once you know that information, don't just have it just to have it, right? Have it, use it for your advantage, and then connect with them emotionally, right? So then guess what? So then maybe so then maybe you're starting some kind of podcast that caters to the people that jog on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You notice that that's when they have the most free time. They have the most free time Sunday mornings before the kids wake up, or before they go to church, or before they go out to brunch with their girls, or with their guys, or with their family. And you realize that they have this hour and a half of just like running to themselves. And guess what? Maybe, just maybe, if you cater a podcast to that particular segmented audience and people, they'll be like, you know what? This is a really good podcast. I'm going to go ahead and listen in with my hour and a half. So guess what you're doing? Now you're connecting emotionally with this group of people, right? That eventually becomes a community when you remain consistent. Now that's another thing with building community.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be consistent. So step one, you have to know their information, psychographic, demographic, know that. Two, you have to make the emotional connection. Then three, you have to be consistent with your engagement. And if when it comes to building up a following, you have to focus on, well, not a following, but a community. You have to focus on that. One, again, psychographic, demographic. What are they doing? Who are they? Where are they? Right? Know that information. Two, make the emotional connection to your market once you have the information. Then three, oh God, I just lost my third point. But no, two, again, and then man, what did I just say? Bring it back to me, man.
No, you were good. Engagement,
Consistency.
consistency.
Consistency with your community, right? And so when you focus on those three, then you can create a solid community that will respond to your voice. That every time you speak, every time you have a podcast, or every time you sell a product, right? They're going to be a community that rallies around you. Why? Because you have learned their voice and they trust yours. I'll say that one more time. You have learned their voice and they trust your voice. Okay. And so when you can have that, because guess what? A relationship is give and take. It's give and take. It's give and take. And everyone gives 100%. When you're thinking about any successful marriage, any successful business partnership, any successful friendship, it ain't, it ain't 50-50. It's 100%, right? 100%, 100%, right? And not to say that there won't be times where where you're on top of your game all the time, where maybe they stop engaging for a while. But if you remain consistent, if you remain engaged, and if you remain open, to that growth, and to the changing of your people and in your market in that space, then you will have a community that trusts your voice, right? And that listen to you. And then you have created this niche. So now whether you have 1,000 followers or 12,000 followers, right? They will purchase your product. They will buy your service. They'll come to your industry. Why? Because they trust you. So now you see this person with 20,000 followers, but the engagement low, and they're not having any conversion. Why? Because they don't have a community that trusts their voice. And then you, on the other hand, have 600 followers, right? But your 600, every time you post, it's 400 people that's commenting, that's engaging. You have a lot of people, that are always listening for what you have to say. So guess what? You have just created a community. So when you have 600 to 6,000, that's where you want to start off with the psychographic, demographic, know their information, right? Then two, you want to also remain Jesus Christ, you want to remain engaged. And then three, again, you want to stay consistent, right? You want to stay consistent with that market. And then when you do that, you create a community that will listen to your voice and that will trust your voice. and
Wow.
build this community. Yeah.
All of that is extremely powerful and needed. And Deon, as well, on your page, something that spoke to me that was powerful. I know as leaders, I know that you constantly have to step out of your comfort zone, push
Yeah.
boundaries, and to
Yeah.
learn about you overcoming the speech impediment. And that
Yeah.
touched home because growing up, I had one. Like I stuttered extremely
Wow.
bad. So
Wow.
I had to overcome that, practicing in the mirror, all that stuff, all throughout elementary, middle school, all
Yeah,
of that,
man.
man. So hearing your
Yes,
story
sir.
and seeing what you're doing right now is amazing. So for
Man.
people who have speech impediments or people who just have things that they view as a weakness, how can they turn that into a strength?
Oh man, I love this question so much.
Thank you.
I would say that what you see as a weakness is really your strength.
Mm.
What you see as a weakness is really your strength. And I'll use myself as an example. Um, even still to this day, I have a speech impediment, but I'm a great speaker. And
Mm.
so it's like, and so, or well, let me not say I'm a great speaker because that sounds kind of arrogant. But what I will say is, I'm like, wait, that sounds kind of arrogant. But I have a speech impediment, but communication is one of my strongest gifts. Right. And I always say this. I always say this. I say that I graduated high school with a 1.7 GPA.
Wow.
But now I get paid to think. People literally pay
Wow.
me to think about their brands, about what they're doing. I say that I have had a speech impediment my whole life. Now I get paid to speak. I
Mm.
literally, I mean, I get literally almost every weekend, almost every week, someone has asked me to come speak, come do something, come speak at this, come speak at that. Literally, and I remember I said this year, again, me being a faith-based guy, I told God, I said, if you give me my voice back, I will never shut up. I will never shut up. And that's what happened this year. I got my voice back, and I always say this. I said that for like 18 years, I was like a Coke bottle that was just shaking up for years, and then finally this year,
Ready
just
to
turned the
explode.
lid right and just
Yeah.
and it just exploded. And so why did that happen? It's because I view my weakness as my strength now.
Mm.
So now when I go and speak, man, listen, whether I stutter or not, you gonna get and feel everything that I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You gonna get and feel everything that I'm saying. Why? Because it's coming from the heart. And not
Yeah.
only is it coming from the heart, but and then what comes from the heart reaches the heart as well. But also I'm speaking from a place to where I'm going to reach past all of your judgment,
Mm.
all of your conviction, and I'm going to reach straight to the heart. And then
Mm.
you're going to feel what I'm saying. So whether I stutter 3 times or 20 times or no times, right? You're going to see that, man, it's something about that guy that's special. It's something about, because again, I turned my weakness into my superpower.
Mm.
I won't. And for everyone that's listening here today, if you can turn your weakness into your superpower, right? Because I'm such a fan. I'm really not trying to go there, but it's like
Hey,
I'm trying
I'm a PK, man.
to.
So
Okay,
you
well,
good.
I am too. Okay, cool.
So you
I am
good.
too.
Perfect.
Right. And so and so it goes here is that we all have a purpose over our life from the from our mother's womb.
Right.
We all have a purpose on why we're here. Why God put us on this earth. We all have purpose and meaning. But over time that gets robbed, that gets taken from us. Whether it's through words, people speaking words over us that wasn't good, saying you won't ever be this. You suck at this. I can't believe you did this. Oh, you will never amount to anything, right? Or whether somebody even doing something physically to you, whether it was something within a family that shouldn't have happened, or maybe it was something in the world that took your innocence, or, whatever it was to distract you from your true purpose. That just would say, you know what, you can't get there. No. Because guess what? The universe or the devil or whatever you want to use to put there, the opposition is saying that we don't want you to get to this place. Because if you get here, now you become powerful. Now you become powerful, and no one can stop you no one can stop you in your lane, right? But again, if I can keep you from your lane, right? If I can make you believe the lie, if I can make you believe the physical abuse or the mental abuse that happens, if I can make you believe it, right, then I can stop you from getting to your lane, to your purpose, to your destiny. And I believe there's so many people who that whether it's words or what people, they don't ever quite make it to their purpose or to their lane or to what they were called to do. I'll say it like this. Dr. Miles Monroe, a guy I study, he says that the richest place in the world is the graveyard. The
Wow.
richest place in the world is the graveyard. Why is it the graveyard, because so many people die with talents, with skills, with ideas. Listen, someone died that was supposed to make Tesla 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Guess what? I know we know about Albert Einstein. I can promise you there are more Albert Einsteins in the grave than we actually know about to this day. I promise you. Promise you. Promise you. Albert Einstein made a choice and said, well, I'm going to do this, and people will know me for this. But I guarantee you there are so many people that were just like Albert Einstein, but maybe there was someone that spoke a word and said that they were stupid, or that said, you will never amount to anything, or that just kind of stopped, that became the opposition from them getting to their purpose. So they never quite made it. And so I feel this shifting and going another direction. But what I want to say on this live is, will you be one of the ones that make it? Will you be one of the ones that make it? That make it, right? That can walk in it. Because purpose, again, it's not that you have to like purpose is not something that you just have to pursue, because purpose is in you. Purpose, like when you were born here, you were born for that reason. So you don't have to go and I'm trying to reach. No. Purpose is already in you. You just have to catch it. You just have to believe it. I'm telling you, for 18, and I'm speaking from my own experience, a significant person to me when I was younger spoke some damaging words to me. They called me some damaging things. And I always say for 17 years of my life, it stole my identity. It stole my identity of who I was. And literally, I didn't want to speak. What I'm doing today, speaking to you right now today, it's a miracle, because I never saw myself doing this. I never wanted to speak because I stuttered. I'm sure you may know, what I'm saying? And so never wanted to do certain things, but it wasn't until this year when I said enough is enough. And we don't have enough people saying enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? You go through the same year, you do the same thing. Oh, 2020 my year, but you do the same thing. 2021, I'm gonna lose weight, but you do the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna start that business, but you never do it, right? I'm gonna do that, but you never do it, right? So when can I, again, and I think that if we can just get people to realize that, hey, this is what I was born to do. I was born to do this. I was, because what I do right now, that's what I say. I was born to do this. That's why, whether it's 1 million people or 20 million people in my field, I know I was born to do it. And me personally, for my life, I say this: when God says yes, no one else can say no.
That's a fact.
And because he said yes to this young black kid on the south side of Chicago that graduated with a 1.7 GPA, that had a speech impediment his whole life, but then overcame it. If God can say yes to me and I can walk in my purpose, surely you have no excuse. You have no excuse. And so I want to encourage everyone and admonish everyone today that if you haven't quite got to that place yet, if you haven't quite got to that lane, or if you haven't quite realized what that purpose is for you, I want you to take time. I want you to really, before you really start the doing, right? Because that's what we do. We do in America. We just always doing. If we can stop the doing and start thinking, start processing, start visualizing where we see ourselves going. And then I'll say this is a great place to start. And then I promise you I'm finished. What are you good at that's hard for most? What is something that you're great at that's easy for you? It's easy for you. Like you can do it in your sleep. What's easy for you to do, but hard for most? And then right there, you can already, that's like step 1 to, okay, this may be something that I'm supposed to be doing. That's like, you're kind of getting into it now, And I guarantee you that whatever that thing is had the most opposition. With me, it was my speech. With me, it was my mouth. It was my speech. Had the greatest opposition towards my mouth, using my tongue, using my brain as well to think. These were the two things that were targeted my whole life. My mouth and my brain, my mouth and my brain, my mouth and my brain had the constant opposition, whether it was somebody saying I was stupid or I couldn't do that, or whether it was somebody saying, hey, you can't talk, so you shouldn't be speaking on stage, or you shouldn't be doing interviews or anything like that. I have the most opposition with these two areas, but guess what? They're now two of my greatest strengths. And so if you could turn your strength, if you could turn your weakness into a strength, you can use your opposition for opportunity, then you become what you were always meant to become from your mother's womb until today and where you're going.
That was deep, man. Deon, man, thank you so much for such a great conversation that was needed. This was powerful, man. Before we bounce, where can everybody
Absolutely.
follow you, support the business, everything?
Yes, absolutely, man. Well, yeah, if you want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram at Deon_Bonaparte or Facebook Bonaparte. Also, if you want to follow the business, just you can just type in into Instagram NDVU Lab. You can find us there. If you have a small business or if you are an entrepreneur, a solopreneur as well, you can literally go to my page and I have a milkshake and it has all of my links to all of my businesses and articles and just different things like that. You can go and book a 30-minute consultation with me, and I will personally love to hear from you, to learn more about your business, and just to see if there can be some kind of partnership down the line. Okay, so that's where you can find us. That's where you can meet us. I'd love to hear from you all, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
My man, Deon, thank you for everything that you do. Keep up the great work. This will be posted
Yes,
on
Caleb.
YouTube probably sometime this weekend. So I'll let you
Perfect.
know, man.
Awesome. Sounds good, Caleb. Thank you for having me on the show, man.
Anytime, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too.